The owner of the Colts just came out with a crazy update about Anthony Richardson, and not only do I find it fascinating, but at the same time, I was also shocked that he came out and said this. Y'all ever see something where you just drop your mouth and go, "What?" Yeah, well, that just happened for me. So we all heard, or at least I hope you heard, because if you haven't, you gotta get out from under that rock you're living under, but the NFL draft, it got done wrapping up. We've already made multiple videos talking about it. We recapped every single day. Day 1, day 2, day 3. If you haven't seen those videos, feel free to check them out. I wouldn't go as far as you saying there was a lot or even a average amount of controversial picks, but early in the first round, really early actually, with the number 4th overall selection, the Indianapolis Colts, they took Anthony Richardson. This was one of your more intriguing ones just due to the fact that AR, that's what I like to call him, AR, he only played 13 games at Florida. To go on top of that, he had a lot of ups and downs all throughout the season. Best way I can put this is, it is a risky pick to say the least, and I was telling one of my buddies this the other night, if it doesn't work out for him in the Colts and he's terrible, that GM, he's getting fired. Whoever made the call to go get this guy at number 4, if it doesn't work out, I am praying for their job. And I think a lot of you are in the same boat as me. This is either going to go really, really good, Anthony Richardson is going to be one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL, or it's going to go really, really, really bad. He's going to be one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. No in-betweens. For that reason alone, that's why I'm so invested in this, and I think that's why many people are so intrigued. But, and I have a big but, we just got an absolute crazy update about Anthony Richardson. We're going to talk all about that in today's video, but also we have some other minor topics to speak on, including the Chargers head coach said Alabama, Georgia, and TCU, they're pretty much the same team. Yeah, that's interesting. You know I'm going to give my 2 cents on that. And also keeping it with the NFL draft stuff, we're going to talk a little bit about Bijan Robinson. It is safe to say it's going to be a jam-packed video. Get your snack, get your popcorn, whatever you like to eat when you watch a video. Maybe it's your favorite meal. I don't know. And as always, if you're new to the channel and you're not subscribed, consider joining. We'd love to have you a part of our community. By the way, shout out to everybody that is already subscribed. We just hit 275K. Thank you guys and blah, 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 blah. All right, man, blah, blah, blah. Subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. Oh, man, where do I want to start with this? You know what? I'm kind of feeling Bijan Robinson. Whoa, pause. That kind of sounded weird. But seriously, I'm kind of feeling the Bijan Robinson topic, so let's start with that. And plus, we're only going to talk about this a couple minutes. A couple people tagged this to me on Twitter. So Bijan Robinson is reportedly the early on odds favorite to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Of course, you could guess who's right behind him, Bryce Young and CJ Stroud, but I am really shocked that Bryce Young or CJ Stroud, they're not one of the favorites. I guess when I think about it, maybe it would be easier for a running back to win the award because rookies in the NFL, quarterbacks at least, they don't have the best time ever. This isn't college football. You're not just going to walk in as a true freshman 5-star recruit and dominate the college level. Being a rookie in the NFL, totally different ball game. So when I do think about it, that probably is the best bet if I was a betting man. I am not a betting man, but yeah, I agree with that. The one thing I'm curious to see in Bijan Robinson here is to see if the Falcons are going to try to turn him into Derrick Henry 2.0. I don't think they're going to do that, but drafting a running back at number 8, you're sitting there going, okay, we need to get our money's worth out of this guy, so they're not just going to give him the ball 15 times a game. You kind of got to get the sense and belief they're going to give this guy the ball at bare minimum 22, 23 times a game. At least that's what I'm feeling. And also last year, the Falcons, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, had the 3rd best rushing offense. I could be wrong on that. You could try to argue and say, hey, this was a luxury pick. You didn't need a running back. And I understand that argument, but getting Bijan Robinson at 8, I think that's just fine. He's a good football player, and I think it's a safe pick. Moving along here to our second topic. So somebody released their 2023 draft grades, and every team, as you can see right here, you can go find your team. Every team has a B or high, or B minus or higher, my bad, except for the Lions, and even they got a C plus. And I don't even know if I agree with the Lions getting a C plus that low. I'd still give them a B, and some people would even give them an A minus. The Lions didn't have the greatest first-round picks, especially Jahmyr Gibbs at number 12. That one's controversial. But they also had an A plus, I called it A plus pick, at number 45. They got the safety out of Alabama, Brian Branch, and a lot of people had Brian Branch going in the first round. I'm not just going to sit up here and talk about the Lions, but the main reason I'm showing you this is because I said this 2 or 3 days ago. The 2023 NFL Draft was so weird because there wasn't any bad picks. Every team did good. That's so strange. Normally, we're giving a team like an F, a D minus, but we're not seeing that. Yet again, I said this a couple days ago. I'm going to say it again. It doesn't matter what team you go for. There's no way you should be disappointed with the draft results. There's no way every single team did good. My only problem with this list is the Eagles only got an A minus. Are you kidding me? The Eagles got an A plus plus. The ultimate winner of this NFL draft was the Philadelphia Eagles, and it's not even close. I just want to speak on that. That's my only problem with the list. Not the Lions having a C+, but the Eagles only having an A-. Get out of here. I did want to share that with y'all, though. Let me know in the comment section. What do you think the Eagles should have got? Or do you think your team, they got a fair rating or a bad rating? Moving along here to our third topic. I had somebody send me this and say, Matt, you got to talk about it, and we're going to do just that. So Brandon Stanley, I'm just going to read it off to you word for word. Brandon Stanley says, TCU's team for 2022 is the quote-unquote same as the University of Georgia or Alabama. My apologies, I should have given you some more context. The reason he even said that in the first place is because a reporter asked him, hey, what's up with y'all taking 3 players from TCU? That's why he brought it up.
Yeah, that they've got a really outstanding team. I think it's no different. It's the same as of the University of Georgia or the University of Alabama, one of the top college programs.
Sorry. Hold on, Matt, lock in, get serious. The reason I'm laughing at this is because, for those of you that don't know, ironically enough, TCU played Georgia in the last game of the college football season and lost 65-7. How could you even compare that? How could you even compare those teams after seeing what happened? That's just a terrible take. And my immediate reaction to whenever I saw this video clip was that episode of SpongeBob. Remember, I can't remember what episode it was, but they was like, hey, how many times do we got to teach you this lesson, old man? That's how I feel with this. How many times do we got to teach people this old lesson? TCU is not in the same ballpark as Georgia. I got to disagree with you, my man. They're not the same team. TCU could have played Georgia 10 times last year, and they would have somehow, some way lost 11 times. It is what it is. A team like TCU would never in a million years beat Georgia. I'm not saying it couldn't happen in the future. I'm talking about last season. I could talk about that for 10 to 15 more minutes, but we got to get a move on to our main topic, our main encore, the main reason you clicked onto this video, and that is for no other than Anthony Richardson. What is going on? We're just jumping straight into it. I don't want to waste any time. We all know this. Let's make a long story short and just quit beating around the bush. It's risky to take Anthony Richardson at number 4. We can agree on that. He's not a safe pick like a CJ Stroud or Bryce Young. It's risky. That's it. That's all I'm going to say about that. Let's get that out the way. Here's what I want to get into. The owner of the Colts just came out with a crazy update about Anthony Richardson, and not only do I find it fascinating, but at the same time, I was also shocked that he came out and said this. It is looking like, as you can see right here, there is a real possibility that Anthony Richardson starts week 1. Why are people saying that? Why is that gaining some traction? Because of this right here. Here's what the owner said word for word. And here we go again, Matt not giving you context. Matt, you idiot. Give him context. He's referring to the owner, by the way. He's talking about the possibility of Richardson starting week 1. Quote unquote, I think it's important. You get better by playing. I mean, practicing preseason games and watching in a quarterback room, that's great. But man, I'll tell you, he get better by playing, and it's something that is really important. I'm scrolling through the comments here. Somebody said, Anthony Richardson being benched by the 8th week of the season is also a very real possibility, and I agree. Check out this comment. I like the perspective. LOL, people really underestimate how good this dude is already. Should he start week 1? Maybe not, but he'll have good talent around him. Just maybe need another piece on the O-line. I agree. Richardson right now is slightly, in my humble opinion, he is slightly better than what most people are giving him credit for. If you watched him at Florida in the first game of the year against Utah, man, people were saying, oh yeah, he's going to be the number 1 overall pick. He's already shown flashes of greatness. Now, the concerning part about him, the risky part is, it's up and down. It hasn't been consistent like a Bryce Young. But here's my favorite comment. Probably the wrong move for his development. He only played 1 collegiate season. I really hope it all goes well for him though. And going back to the main message here, that's why I'm so shocked by this. The fact they're even considering starting him week 1 is blowing my mind. But also the fact they're coming out to the public and saying it is taking it to a whole nother level. 13. I'm going to say that number again, 13. That number represents the amount of starts he had in college. I love me some Anthony Richardson. Freak athlete, potential through the roof. I could go on and on. But he's not ready to start week 1. No way. I'd say at max, this is best case scenario, week 7 maybe? Week 6? That's at max. In reality, this guy probably shouldn't be starting a game until week 11 or 12. It's just a different ball game, and you got to throw in there, he didn't even master the collegiate game. It just seems like, to me at least, the Colts, they're pushing this way too far, way too fast. You got a good talent in Anthony Richardson, but don't screw it up. One of the worst things you can do for a quarterback's mental space is put him in there too early. He winds up sucking, and then the rest of his career goes down the drain because he's already convinced himself he's not that good. Here's my thing, and you can read this comment for yourself. It's saying the same thing. You don't want Anthony Richardson to turn into a Justin Fields situation. You don't want to put him in there as early as week 1 and already have him scrambling for his life, trying to learn a new offense, and then trying to make some big time throws, etc. You want to put him in there when he's comfortable with the system. And I don't care what anybody tries to tell you, there's not a shot in the dark he's going to be comfortable by week 1. No way. A lot of people feel like, hey, the NFL season's far away. It's only 4 or 5 months away, guys. It's going to take some time. Me, myself, here's how I would do this. I would insert him in a game or 2 before I'd start him. You don't want his first action in the NFL to be starting, especially when you're 0-0. Everybody knows this. The first couple of weeks of the NFL season are arguably the most important. It's either going to tell the fan base, hey, we're going to be really good or we're going to be really bad. And also, the first couple of weeks, that's when the most is on the line because you're not eliminated from the playoffs. I'm kind of looking at it from this standpoint. Best case scenario for Anthony Richardson, the Colts are like 3-9, and then he starts. There's nothing to lose. You're not making the playoffs regardless. I know the Colts don't want that, but as a player standpoint, that'd be the best case scenario because there's not as much pressure. That's just how I'm looking at it. But the way the Colts are looking at it, as you can see from this quote right here, they think the best practice is putting him in the game right away. And I don't 100% disagree with this statement. I agree with it. Your best practice isn't actually practice. It's in the game. But not in this situation. This is a relatively young guy that still needs to learn a lot about the game. I feel like this is going to be controversial, so I'm very curious. So let me know your thoughts down below. But, Robert Billy!